French President Francois Hollande this week became the first Western leader to say his country would recognize a provisional government in place of the regime headed by Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad.
Well, it's significant for any country positioned on Syria, either with Assad or against, to take such a drastic policy shift. France is a key player in supporting the opposition, if anything at the rhetorical level in terms of diplomacy, and also supporting non-lethal aspects of the insurgency. But this is a very significant policy position as far as France is concerned.
The French move puts Washington in something of a quandary. As a U.S. State Department spokeswoman explained, the United States has been urging the Syrian opposition to unite, but feels it is much too early to speak about recognition.
We have been working with the Syrian opposition for some time as it's worked through its own code of conduct and its own planning for a transitional government. We have been encouraging the opposition to begin thinking, both the opposition outside Syria, the opposition inside Syria, about the plan that it put forward on July 3rd, and if that were to be implemented, who it might want to have in its transitional government. But as you know, they are continuing to confer among themselves.
The Syrian opposition is very divided, and if a provisional government is formed, it is not certain what kind of support it would command across the embattled country.
This is a long-term crisis. It's not going to be the kind of dynamic that you can resolve by calling for government exile or empowering local forces, because it doesn't negate the reality that a broad cross-section of Syria that includes almost all the Alawites and certainly some Sunnis is going to continue to battle against the insurgency and against the opposition. And they have shown time and time again that for all the calls of 1 week left and the Assad regime is over, or the military is at its end or on its last leg, so far have proven to be an effort in exaggerating reality. Now, beyond that, you also have the fact that you have a U.S. preference to include at least parts, if not significant portions, of the ruling structure, the military, the security apparatus, and the government, as part of the solution. This is sort of a lessons learned from Iraq, this idea that de-Baathification might make sense in the short term, but you're setting yourself up for the next cycle of insurgency, the next cycle of civil conflict, and that could really accelerate what might already be a Syrian decade of instability.
As the fighting in Syria drags on, with an estimated 20,000 dead so far, many experts say there will be no easy end to the conflict.
Yes, the regime has done terrible things, but you're also seeing an increasing metastasization of the opposition. You have on both sides a level of violence that is becoming increasingly indiscriminate. It's you're with us or against us on either side, marginalizing moderate forces, putting pressure on minority groups. And I don't think that there's going to be a rapid game change in terms of moving away from the current cycle of violence.
There is as yet no provisional government for France or any other country to recognize, but the French president's readiness to recognize a new government for Syria is one more ratcheting up of a bloody conflict that appears likely to get much worse before there is any clear resolution. Burton Bolay, KSA2, Washington.